goosebumps every time, yeah, 713. If you ain't one, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low-key. I'm sipping low-key and honest, flying rider. I get those goosebumps every time. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around me, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time.
Up the mags. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC. And we're back for another reaction show for Newcastle versus Man City. And it's a positive reaction. We're definitely taking that as a positive, lads. Drawing against the champions, especially with no striker, a recognised striker, I should say. But before we get into all that, Chris, how are you?
Very good, mate. Yeah, really, really busy today. Took someone to the gym in the morning, got back just in time for the match, watched the match, and honestly, I've been on cloud nine since the match. It's been absolutely brilliant. Such a fighting performance, and you know, a little bit of Newcastle of old, which it was great to see. Certain players, which I know we'll get into, I thought were absolutely outstanding. One in particular. And yeah, just a really good day. And then obviously, as soon as the match was over, I had to shoot up and do a bit of shopping with Sums, and then came back, watched a little bit of the Liverpool game, had a shower, and then jumped on here. So yeah, it's been quite hectic today, but all good with me, Dad. All good with me. Pete, how are you doing, mate?
Not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, busy day for me. Took the boy birthday shopping with his money from last week, and it was nice. Just me and him, just going out and buying some stuff.
What did you buy?
Yeah, what do you get, mate?
The Nintendo Switch game. What else?
Nice.
And some Pokemon stuff. That's what he's into at the moment. So yeah, he's absolutely buzzing. And so am I. Like I say, it's been a busy day, but all worth it when you're when you see a performance like that today. So all good all round. What about yourself, Daz?
All good with me. Yeah, I did what you did after the game, Pete. Chris, I did it before the game. I got all the shopping done, grocery shopping done. It was just me and Luca today as my wife was working. And then, my wife had got Luca a big box of Match Attacks things, right? And I was like putting away the shopping. I was like, he's very quiet upstairs. And I just called upstairs and he had opened like 32 packets of Match Attacks. I was like, what? I don't know how he got into them, but anyway, interesting. But yes, all good with me, and no, delighted with the result today. This reaction show could have be going a different way, but it's positive. It's positive. But before we get into the match and talking about the match, let's go to a serious topic, and it's the news on Darren Eales yesterday from it was released from Newcastle that he is from a health condition, and he's going to step down as CEO of Newcastle. Now, he's going to hand over the role as well, so he's going to be involved in finding his successor as well. But I know we all wished him well yesterday on Twitter and stuff, but just we wanted to mark the great work he's done over the last 2 years as well, and previously before that with Atlanta, but yeah, just wanted to mark the work that he has done for us. And you want to say there, guys, before we move on and into the game?
Just best wishes, more than anything. I think it just shocked everybody, the news coming out yesterday. Nobody expected it. And yeah, when you put it all into perspective, I don't think at that point in time football really mattered. It was a case of our CEO, regardless of your opinions of him, you want him to have, you know, the best support, the best wishes, and hopefully have a full recovery. But you look, it shows the character of the person. The fact that not only is he continuing on the road, he's going to be part of the obviously the this staffing that is going to be choosing his successor, and he isn't just walking away from the role. He's going to stay in until that successor has been found. So fair play to him, and it just shows his determination within the role. And you look at the outpour from all of the fans and opposition clubs as well.
Yeah,
Sunderland
Arsenal.
they sent put a little something out, but lots of other clubs have shown their respect, and it just goes to show how highly respected he is in the game. The fact that so many people from around football have shown their support and sympathy off the back of that. So, from my perspective, best wishes, love and guidance, and hope for a full recovery.
Yeah, I echo what you boys have said. I mean, obviously, it was a bit of a shock, came out of the blue. But yeah, obviously sending best wishes to his friends and family, of course. Difficult time for him, but yeah, showed it. In fairness to Darren Eales, showed his class. He has, as Pete rightly said, hasn't walked away. Wants to kind of leave a little bit of a legacy, make sure that the right man selected, or one is selected to replace him. So I think that's really, really good. Do you know what? I heard a really heartwarming story on TalkSport this morning. Stuart Pearce was on, and he said that Darren Eales was in the press office. So anyone who's heard this, I apologise, but I heard it and I thought I'd share it. Stuart Pearce was in the media room or the press room early this morning, and Darren Eales was in there, and he said, obviously I went over to him, shook his hands and said, listen, really sorry to hear about the news, keep fighting, good luck with the battle. And Darren Eales' response was, it's going to be a really difficult game today against Man City. And I really, really like that. And Stuart Pearce was like, well, I didn't actually mean that. I was referring to yourself. And obviously Darren Eales was like, oh, thank you so much and everything. But kind of shows, his head's really in the game. And it would be perfectly understandable if it wasn't, given the circumstances. So, really, really big kudos to Darren Eales there. And yeah, obviously, we all wish him the best as a channel. I'm sure everyone watching wishes him the very best as well. And I thought it was really classy when Pep mentioned it in his pre-match as well, saying that obviously he wished the best. So Pete, you're right. Loads of opposition fans and managers and clubs coming out and paying the respects. I think it's really good. It brings football community together. So no, it was really nice.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing that, Chris. I hadn't heard any of that or Pep's comments either. Let's get back to what we're here for. Let's go back to reviewing the game. And before we do as well, make sure you smash that like button. Lisa will probably be on your case if you don't anyway. And the other mods, of course. But yes, team news. Let us talk team news. A few changes than what we said on away days as well, lads. But this was the Newcastle lineup. So Tino Tino was on the bench. Trips was in. Hall starts over Kelly. Tonali starts. Finally, a start for Tonali. Gordon is playing up a striker role because Isaac is out and wasn't on the bench either. So we've no recognised striker on the pitch. And Murphy starts in there then as well, taking over the slot from Gordon on the right. Barnes obviously on the left. But what was your thoughts on the Newcastle team? Pete, we'll go to you first.
Well, once we got the news of Alexander Isak not being in, it was kind of what I expected at that point. I think the Alexander Isak thing, it was a huge blow not having him in. The top striker, your main guy, you want him in these big games. It was a shame for him not to make it. But as I said to you boys on Thursday, if he's not 100% fit, there's no point risking him in this game. I want him ready for Everton. And ultimately, that's what Eddie Howe said after his press conference. He said he's not going to play on Tuesday and it'll be touch and go whether he plays on Saturday. I think he'll play Saturday, personally. Next Saturday, I mean. And it coincides with the international break coming after that period. And I don't expect him to go with Sweden either. I expect him to have that 2 weeks after that period of rest. So by the time that we get Brighton at St. James's Park, hopefully he'll be close to being fully recovered. Certainly be able to be playing on that toe and on that foot and being up to speed again. So did give us a bit of a blow. But you look at that team and look, it ultimately falls in what we ended up seeing. But I just wanted to see one or two things in that team from the lineup. I wanted to see Gordon press high. I wanted to see Bruno dominate that midfield along with Tonali, and I needed to see big Dan Burn have a big performance up against Haaland, and ultimately we got to see all three of those things. So good to see that lineup. And yeah, it was it's as good as it could be, in my opinion.
Chris, your thoughts on the team, and I'm sure you're looking forward to possibly Isak starting against Everton.
Yes, yeah. I hope so, mate. Like Pete, I hope Alexander Isak starts next week. Obviously, he won't be missed for AFC Wimbledon. I think the Owl came out and said that. So hopefully he'll be ready. He said it's nothing serious, but it's niggly. Hopefully that's not him masking over a more serious problem. That's certainly what I hope the case is, because this team does need Alexander Isak back. So yeah, no, I do hope that Isak's back sooner rather than later. But firstly, Daz, kudos to you, because I believe you picked the midfield in the midweek, yeah, and I think you did indeed pick Joe Linton, Bruno, and Tonali. So well done with that, mate. Yeah, do you know what? I think that the lineup was as best as it could be, given the circumstances. Similar to what Pete just said, actually. My only surprise really was that I thought he might have started Tino, but hey, it's not bad when you're arguing over Tino or Trippier, is it? So it's a bit of a luxury we've got.
Pete made a good point though in our chat as well, and I was kind of shocked as well when I saw Trips in, but with Grealish starting on the right over Doku, the pace wasn't the biggest worry then, let's say, and so yeah, Trips had a great game actually. So let's get into it a bit further. Coming up as well, just a reminder, we're going to have a double draw, members draw. Don't let us forget it either, because that's happened before, and that's what got us into this predicament. But we're definitely having a double draw today, because the spinning wheel is there on my screen. Right, let's get straight into it. Early Newcastle intensity. Remember that? Yes, it's back. Shar on form early doors. Nice passes and interceptions, back heels from Ederson in goal as well was on display, and that's not the only thing that was on display if you're watching it on BT, because the Geordie Journos, the award nominated Geordie Journos were on the TV. Did you spot them behind Joe Cole?
Yes.
Yes. So,
yeah.
That's to see the boys there. 40 minutes. A nice passing move from Newcastle resulted in a corner. Trips had to change his boots, or one of his boots at one stage as well. But Gordon, he's as Pete alluded to, but he's constant running and pressing, putting City under pressure, and Ederson under pressure. First 25 minutes, Newcastle for me were on top. Some early corners, nothing clear cut. Shar got a yellow as well. Trips got back at one stage as well, cut out Haaland near the post, who was coming into the post, but Trips cleared it. But on 34 minutes, the breakthrough came, and not for us, a goal for Man City. So Grealish beats Trips, passes into Guardiola beats Burn, and through the legs of Tonali, 1-0 City. I did mention on the way this, Guardiola does like to go forward. He can stay up there as well. He does a bit of a shower at times and staying up there. But thoughts, despite Newcastle being on top for that most of that first half an hour-ish, and your thoughts on the actual City goal. Chris, we'll go to you first.
Yeah, so I was a little bit disappointed, only for the fact that we'd done so well. You're right. That first half an hour, we were certainly holding our own. And you could argue, funnily enough, Lisa texted me when she was in work and she was like, how's the game? And I said, it's pretty even. And I'd say we're shading it just. And then weirdly, the commentators said exactly the same thing a bit later. Like, you could argue we were slightly in front. We weren't, heavily in front, but, we were holding our own. And you could argue that we were slightly, doing better, if you like. And then it was weird, because as soon as Trippier lunged in to try, and get the ball off Grealish, you just felt like it was just a moment where you're like, oh, like it was just. I mean, I don't want to be too heavily critical of Kevin Trippier, because it's a fully committed challenge. It's just that he didn't quite time it right, which was disappointing. And I suppose, boys, like there was a little bit of fortune at the end, you know, the fact that it goes through Tonali's legs. Tonali tries to make the challenge, and obviously it slips through his legs. I think it actually takes a little deflection off his ankle and goes in. But I don't think Pope has a chance of it anyway, because as soon as he hits it, you know, he's pretty helpless, really. Dan Burn, you could argue, could have done a little bit better with the challenge. But again, don't want to batter him either. Ultimately, boys, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts, but my kind of reflection was the slip moment from Trippier, where, you know, he could have, you know, knocked it out for a throw in or cleared it or whatever. It was a little bit unfortunate. But this is what 80 million euro defenders can do. It's just, you know what I mean? It was just a moment of class from Gvardiol. Really, really clever feat. And when you think he's a left back, it's quite scary, because he didn't look like a left back when he was in the penalty box. He did really, really well. And sometimes you've got to just hold your hands up and go, do you know what? That's why they win league titles. That's why they win Champions Leagues, because they've got players who can do that. So it was disappointing. But at the same time, you know, I don't really want to take anything away from City, because like it was a good goal. I just wish Trippier had kind of, you know, got his foot in there and intercepted, but it was just one of those things. So yeah, frustrating. But it was weird, Daz, because me and you were talking about this before we went live, didn't we? I still felt encouraged. I didn't feel disheartened even when it went in. I was just like, right, back to the drawing board. Let's keep doing what we've been doing. And like I say, the first half an hour that I saw, like I was really, really pleased, because the effort was there, the intensity was there. So like me head was still held high. It wasn't like in previous years where the goals got in and you're gone, great, here we go, 3, 4, 5, 6. I didn't feel like that. I've just thought it was just one of those moments where, you know, we could have done a little bit better, but it happens.
Pete, do you think anyone could have done better, or what's your thoughts on the overall City goal?
Firstly, I thought we'd have one or two Arsenal fans in the chat. I did say on the 12th man on Friday, I said if we get a result against Man City, you need to come over and show your love. So glad to see one or two are popping in, and hopefully we'll get some watch back as well. But I'm not going to lie, I was gutted with the goal when we conceded it, because for a few reasons. One, ultimately, I didn't think we deserved to concede. I thought we were well in the game. I thought it was even. I thought we were playing really well. It actually, for me, turned out to be the only mistake Trippier made in the game. I thought he was pretty flawless other than that in how he played. He just rushed the ball. He got a little bit too excited. He got too close to Grealish. This is what Grealish likes. He likes to suck players in and make them feel like, because his touch is bad. When Grealish receives the ball, it's a bad touch, which gives Trippier the thought that he can win it. And that's what Grealish does. It's so many top players that are good at dribbling. What they do, it's almost like it's a fake bad touch to suck you in, and then they play the ball around you and it's gone within a second. And yeah, it was a shame. It was, you know, you could argue it's really like it's bad defending from Burn, because he's almost kind of he jumps in too quickly to go down his right hand side, so Gundogan's left, and he doesn't need to, because he's already wide of the goal. If he just keeps his position, he stays central, he's not going to get he's not going to get in goal from that tight angle anyway. But he just obviously gets sucked to the ball, as players do when they're desperate to block it, and it's just unlucky. I actually think the deflection off Tonali's leg makes it even more difficult for Pope to save it. It almost makes it impossible. I don't blame Pope for that at all. He was rooted to the spot. Nothing he could do. And yeah, I just think City got a little bit of luck there. It was for them, it'll be a well taken goal, but it was a little bit of luck at the time, because, you know, Newcastle United were looking good, and we were fully matching them. So it was a little bit of a punch to the stomach, should we say, when that one went in. I'm not gonna lie about that one.
I'm going to link back to the conversation we had before the show started, Chris. And yeah, I was disappointed that we're obviously 1-0 behind, but I was like, yeah, but Newcastle are back. But we're back here as well. And if we were to lose the game, that'll take us into the next game, and the performances are starting to improve. That's what we've been asking for the last 5 games before that. So it was hard to be too disheartened, and there was also another half of football to be played. We're not finished that first half yet, because the intensity continued from Newcastle. Pope with his feet, though, again, nearly gives Man City another with a poor pass straight to City. And Gundogan could not capitalize on it. He should have chipped that over Pope. He doesn't seem the same player he was, though, when he was last at City, if you ask me, even outside today's game. I just thought that recently. Maybe it'll take him a while to get back into it again. And Newcastle started then to kind of get a bit sloppy, another City chance, but then right on 45 minutes, J7 with a shot and turn turn and shot even, a powerful shot as well, saved by Edison, a great save, and then Barnes followed up with another shot that went for a corner. But that took us to half time, 1-0 down, and. Thoughts then, lads? Did you think there was? We had actually a mini conversation about it in the chat. But what was your thoughts then, Pete? We'll go to you first.
My initial thoughts were that's the best 45 minutes of football I've seen from Newcastle United in 6 months. It's been a long time since I've seen Newcastle United play with that flow. We might have played within that 6 months and scored multiple goals and won matches in the first half of other games. But that's the best 45 minutes I've seen from Newcastle United in a long time. Really, really good performance. Everything that we stand for, our identity as a team, we had. And it started from the front. So I mentioned about Anthony Gordon. You know, he's not a striker. He's not a striker. He can't do half of what Alexander Isak can do. But what he can do is what he did, and he caused so many headaches for Man City, is high press. And it's not just him. I think I said it on was it? I might have said it on the 12th man. I can't remember where I said it. It might have been in one of the other chats. But I'd said with this team, it's not just about Gordon pressing. It's about them pressing as a tandem. So I needed to see Barnes. I needed to see Murphy doing the same. But I got more than what I expected. I saw Barnes, I saw Murphy, I saw Bruno, I saw Tonali, Joe Linton. We were pressing as a 6, not as a 3, let alone as a 1. And they could not get out at times. Edison, who's arguably the best in the world on the ball, was having to play the ball out for throw-ins because he couldn't handle it. There was no options there because we were all over the place. That is Newcastle United. That reminded me of when we drew 3-3 with Man City 2 years ago. Yeah. That was the exact same performance. And we matched them. You know, look at Man City games gone by, and they would have had 70-odd% possession and would have just been camped behind the ball. They had 59% possession in that first half. But if you look at the other stats on that, in terms of the chances created, in terms of corners, in terms of big chances, we're almost equal to them in everything that we did with less possession. We had a lot of time on the ball. We had a lot of touches on the ball. We, in the first half, had, I think at the halfway point, I think it was like 10-2 in touches in their opposition box in comparison to them. We were giving them just as much as a game, and we were the better team. And we were unlucky to go in 1-0 down. I genuinely thought that, and that's why I said in the chat, and I said in the other boys' chat as well, I said, we are still in this game. They filled me with hope that they could still be at the table in the second half. And look, yeah, I was really, really impressed with what I saw. And this was the reaction that I needed to see.
I'm going to ask you the same question, Chris, but before I do, I saw two things coming up in the chat that I want to comment on. Chippers, is that Sam Chippers? I haven't seen Sam Chippers for ages. Hope you're well, buddy. Anyone that doesn't know Sam, he's Frank's son. Frank, the legend is Frank. Is that right, Sam? And the other one I saw is Paulie Slaughter as well, in that the Irish Mags gave a presentation to both Anthony Gordon, player of the season from last year, and Tino as well. So nice one, the Irish Mags as well, for that lovely picture as well. And actually, there's not the no, I won't spoil it. I let the lads sell it on their show during the week, so I won't say it anymore. Go watch that during the week to find out what happened next. Sorry, Chris, your thoughts on off that first half?
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? Pete hit the nail on the head when he said it's the best we've played in such a long time, because I can't remember the last time, boys, that we were so active in the chat at half time, because in the last few months, you know, we're normally just like, oh, this is shit, or, oh, you know, we need to do better, or drag him off, get him off. It was all really positive. And I kind of felt, I was honestly weird feeling. I was really looking forward to the second half, because I felt, you know, that we were unlucky to go in at half time behind. I didn't think we deserved that at all. And I'm going to touch on the point Pete made about the pressing as well. Like, we saw an improvement on the pressing. And what I loved to see was Anthony Gordon kind of leading that. There was times where Anthony Gordon was going forward and you could see him looking left, looking right, and moving his arms as if to say, come on, lads, up. And I think there was a moment where we even saw Dan Burn pressing. Dan Burn was like, he closed Edison down, he closed the centre-back down. I think it was Ruben Diaz. Everybody was just giving 110%. And this is all we ask for as fans, isn't it? You know, if we see these types of performances where, you know, they give their all, it's brilliant to see. And quite often this season, we've not really seen that. But today, particularly at half-time, I won't go to the end of the match yet, but it was just really pleasing. And I can't remember the last time I was looking forward to a second half so much, because I firmly believed we were still in the game and we could get something from the game.
I know Anthony Gordon said before the game as well that they were kind of happy that the Wimbledon match was postponed. Hey, Luke, you're still making your way down the stairs, Luke.
Get out of it, Luke. Get out of it.
Yeah,
should have had 2 pens, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
We will get to that. We'll get to that. Dive. I don't know what I was talking about, but we'll carry on anyway. We'll move on into. Oh yeah, I was going to say, what he said before the game, that they were happy that the game was cut off because they got to focus on training. But it's like as well that the reins were taken off and that they were allowed to just go for it today. They have been holding back and it just hasn't been working. So whether that's linked to James Bunce or whatever, I don't know. But it's back today for sure. Second half, let's get into that. 50 minutes. Penalty call. There's one of 3 penalty calls here, Chris. First one is Barnes was knocked in the box, went to VAR. They said no, that one was fairly soft, all right? That was no penalty. Anyone disagree? At the time, I know, but
which one
no
was
one's
that?
having an opinion. That was when Barnes was knocked in the box. Went to VAR then. 5 minutes after the restart.
No. I don't think it was a penalty.
Yeah, I think Luke would agree with us on that one. Then Grealish elbow on Tonali. That was a bit mild as well. But you could see the shit-out streak kind of just creeping in then as well into the game. Then 55 minutes. Bruno ball. Gordon on the run. Takes around the keeper. The keeper brings him down. Edison gets a yellow penalty for Newcastle. Gordon steps up and bang, puts it away, sends the keeper the wrong way. Goal for Anthony Gordon. And I forgot to mention at the start who was applauded as well at the start. Warfrags with another excellent display for Anthony Gordon. That little bit of pick me up that he needed as well, and he duly obliged with his performance today. And while I'm at it, I might as well play his little celebration as we have here. 1-1, and he went on to do a little celebration after that as well. But Chris, we'll go to you first on Starboy, as I call him,
Starboy,
Flash.
yeah.
And you know what? I have to do this.
He's a miracle.
Chris, your thoughts on Flash's goal?
I'll do it in stages. I'll do it as quick as I can. So, first thing I'll say is I cannot remember the last time. In fact, no, I don't think I've ever done it. I don't think I've ever been watching somebody taking a penalty and being more concerned, and you may think I'm mad at this, being more concerned over how he celebrated. Because genuinely, because I thought to myself, I didn't see the pre-match with him, but I know that Sky focused on him. Didn't see it, and I know obviously Wall Flags did that fantastic, celebration for him, should we say? Yeah, it does. It was absolutely brilliant. And I thought, we've had all these rumours, all this stuff's been coming out, and he's the main man. He's playing through the middle. He's playing in a position that he's not, fully au fait with. Yes, we know he can play there, but it's not his natural position. And when the penalty got given, obviously when Gordon was brought down, I thought to myself, who's going to take this? And then I thought, yeah, it's got to be Gordon. It's going to be Gordon. Anyway, Gordon's, got hold of the ball, puts the ball down. And genuinely in my head, I had no doubt he was going to score. No doubt. I knew he was going to score. But I was just thinking, I want to see something from him. I want to see something from him. And I want him to give back and put all these rumours to bed. Because we've heard in recent days that, a contract's very near, that there's not going to be a release clause. It's going to be a 6-year deal. And I'm thinking, come on, Anthony, come on. And this is what I'm thinking to me, come on, just give some. We see him start with that, Daz, and then he runs over to the corner flag. All the players around him, hugging him and everything. And then he's kissing the badge. He's pulling his shirt. He's screaming. It was like one of the moments where I was like, he's back. He's back. he is back. I thought this is going to kickstart his season now, and genuinely, it was the celebration that I was equally buzzing for, and we were all screaming down the WhatsApp, weren't we? And it was just amazing to see that celebration. And then even when the players are all coming away, from the corner, he turns around and he gives it another one. And I thought, this is it now. This is Anthony Gordon's back. His head's back in the game, and he's going to start performing week in, week out now. Now, maybe I'm talking too soon for that, but I genuinely believe that we've got our Anthony Gordon back, and all these rumours about leaving for Liverpool can be just put to bed. Signs his contract, no release clause, and he can, get on with his Newcastle United career. In terms of the penalty, I'll be honest, boys, because as soon as the match finished, I've not really been on social media up until half an hour before the show. And I'm really surprised at all the furore around it, because when Ederson took him down, like, it wasn't even a question whether it's a penalty for me. It was a stonewall penalty all day long.
Checking the offside, weren't they?
Yeah, they checked the offside, and then that turns out that was 2 or 3 yards on. I think it was the right back, must have been Carl Walker keeping them on. He was well on. And interestingly, I did see a tweet from Luke Edwards earlier, and he said it's one of the only few times I disagree with Alan Shearer in that it wasn't a penalty. And I was thinking, so Alan Shearer doesn't think it's a penalty, and I'm thinking, to me, mate, it's a stonewall. It's an absolute stonewall. I mean, we'll get on to the next one as well. But for me, it was cut and dry. He puts it round there. I was actually waiting when he approached the ball. I was thinking, right, he's going to tuck it to his left or tuck it to his right. And then when he takes it round him, I thought, right, okay. This is all, by the way, in very split-second motion thinking. And you kind of knew that Ederson had no choice but to kind of make some contact with him, because if Gordon gets around him and stays on his feet, it's a goal, isn't it? So Ederson does his very best. But there's contact. There's contact there. And he stops Gordon from reaching the ball that he's put round Ederson. So for me, it's a stonewall penalty. But yeah, really made up that Anthony Gordon took the penalty. Absolutely love the celebration. And yeah, 1-1. And I was thinking, game on.
Sorry, Big Al. Here, go to Specsavers. Go sort yourself out there, lad. You need to. That was definitely a penalty. Boys, I did say last week, Gordon, he's going to turn it around. But I'm just delighted he's back, and I'm delighted that the team are back performing. But Pete, your thoughts on, was it a penalty for you, first of all?
Yeah, well, all day. As soon as he played the ball in and behind him and went to ground, you were just waiting for the ref to point to the spot. You knew it was a penalty. Anthony Gordon is the master at being able to win penalties. And he has won the penalty. Let's not beat around the bush. He's won that penalty, but he knows how to win them. I wouldn't get too drawn in on what Alan Shearer is saying. He's got to maintain balance in some aspects of what he does for his media responsibilities. He'll be absolutely buzzing that it was given, and he'll be absolutely buzzing that Anthony Gordon put it in the net. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, And I had no doubts that Anthony Gordon will step up to take the penalty, because when Isak hasn't been on the pitch, I think was it Bournemouth or Luton last season where he took the penalty? It might have been Bournemouth. He took the penalty then and scored a very good penalty. We were there at the City Ground or County Ground, wherever City Ground, I think it is, Forest, in the Cup. He scored an outstanding penalty there in the penalty shootout. He put it in the same corner. He's got a real good whip on the ball. His body shape makes it look like he's going to put it in the far corner, which is where Edison went, and he just whips it into the other side. There's not many players that have that technique. He's mastered it, so I was always confident that he put it in the net. Yeah, absolutely buzzing when he scored that, and it was well deserved. Well deserved at that point in the game. We were causing some problems. Murphy was causing some problems in that second half, but we were looking good, and it was a really weird one, because in the build up to that goal, their defensive line was just getting higher and higher. Whether that was because they were trying to push for the second goal, so we're trying to squeeze us back, but we just kept pushing the other way, and we just needed that one out ball constantly that was going out, and finally when it broke, and we managed to put him through. That's what you want. You want someone that's got extreme pace to run through, and he left them for dead. I do want him to improve on his one-on-ones, because he does get quite a few of them. I think the last one other than that he put away was the one at Liverpool last season, which is going back right to the start of last season. I'm not as confident with him on one-on-ones, but I'm confident in him winning a penalty or drawing something from the opposition, and that's exactly what he did. And I'm not going to lie, at that point, I was thinking, let's go for it. Why not? There's no expectations there. Let's go for the win, because you could see the panic on some of the Man City faces. They thought this was done, having got the first goal. But what Newcastle United is starting to prove now is that even with a goal behind, they're still in the game, and they're still within that conversation. And we've proved it a few times this season, which is it's a great attribute to have as a team.
Nice one, Pete. I'm also laughing at Jimmy's comment. Pete needs to be in charge of the music, Jimmy says there as well. But right, let's move on, because 60 minutes, like 3 minutes later, another penalty shout, J7, he was kind of bundled over in the box from a Walker challenge. Was that a penalty for you, lads?
Go on, Chris.
I thought it was a penalty. I was very surprised, because when it happened, the ball stayed in play, and I was just waiting for the ball to go out of play, and I thought, yeah, VAR will get involved here. And then I think, tell me if I'm wrong, boys, I think the commentator was just like, yeah, that got waved away. And I was thinking, what? Like, to me, that looked a clear penalty. I mean, I'll be honest, boys, I'll have to watch it back, but it looked like a penalty to me when I first seen it. I don't actually think they showed a replay on the stream I was watching. I could be wrong, but I don't think they did. But to me, it looked a clear penalty. It really, really did. Walker shoves him from behind, and I thought, well, how's it not given? But the fact that it obviously VAR looked at it, I've seen people on social media saying that they didn't want to give two penalties so close to each other. Maybe that's got something to do with it. I don't know, but I'd love to hear your boys' opinions on it, because, like I say, my first initial reaction was, it's a penalty. And even when the play carries on, I thought, don't worry, they'll bring it back and they'll say to the referee, you've made a mistake. But it seems like they've gone with the on-field decision. But to me, that is a clear and obvious error, or it looked a clear and obvious error to me anyway.
Yeah, like that, like what some people were alluding to that. I thought it was a penalty as well, but just so close together, you never really see it given like that. But Pete, your thoughts, and actually no, let's go to the super chat as well and get your thoughts on whether it should be a penalty. Chris.
Yes, so we've got a question here for Pete. Michael, this isn't his first rodeo, by the way. So I know the answer, and Daz knows. I reckon a lot of people know the answer. And if you're looking at his background, I reckon you'll get your answer. But Pete, what are you drinking tonight? Toon.
I don't get a chance to do this often on a stream, not like I did before. But normally it's the water. But of course, it's the weekend. We got a point on the board against a very good team. Celebrate with a nice little brandy and coke. I think this one is it's the old French brandy, 3 barrels tonight. That's what we're going for. So yeah, it's a nice, different type of brandy. Nice little taste to it, nice little kick. Why not? Why not have a couple tonight to celebrate, and then back on the water as of tomorrow morning.
Well, Michael, you mustn't have been around. About 2 years ago, Pete did a 5-hour show on his own with a couple of bottles of brandy. So that's still probably on the. I still have to watch that back. Actually, it's there somewhere.
Things have changed. 2 years ago is a long time. But yeah, great show, by the way. Go check it out.
Was that penalty for you, Pete?
You know what? In my mind, when that happened, I was expecting them to at least have a look on VAR. When it happened, it was obviously the camera angle is quite far away, so you can't see the intricacies. But when you look at it, if that tangle happens outside the box, I think he probably gets a free kick. And this is where it gets really frustrating, is because that's probably a free kick outside the box, but it's not enough to be given a penalty for the referee. For me, I think Joe Linton's entitled to win the ball in that position. He's right in the middle of, if he wins the ball and gets the ball in under control, he's got a direct shot at goal. And I think sometimes the referees don't think about that type of scenario playing out, and that's the case. There's a clear tangle there. And he's obviously gone to ground. Some people might think it's soft. I'm not going to lie. I've seen softer penalties given. It's one of those things. Like it's hard to like nail it down and go 100% penalty. It's an absolute disgrace it wasn't given. But I've seen them given. I've seen them given. Not just the odd time. A number of times I've seen those type of comings together given. But look. Was I raging and angry about it? No, I wasn't. But yeah, I was at least expecting VAR to take a look at it. Did they even look at it in the end? Did they even look at that?
I don't know.
Didn't say much about it.
I don't remember them even doing it. Because normally you hear the commentator say VAR having a look at it, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
I don't remember them saying that. So someone else in the chat might be able to kind of give us the information on that, but I don't remember.
That reminds me, I have to listen back to your voice note when Gordon scored. I just was doing my own at the time, Pete. I must play that back at some stage. The celebration, no doubt. Right, let's move on. Barnes on 60 minutes again, and still on the 60 minutes because this is straight after that potential penalty claim. Barnes' chance, Edison cut it out. Then Tonali and Grealish. They're getting to know each other here a bit, so that was nice. So they're getting to know each other pretty well. Then Gordon ball across to Barnes. Gordon kind of just overcooked the ball. It was kind of Barnes is stretching, but that potential for another chance for us to go 2-1 ahead. Then 70 minutes, Pope got ahead of Holland and punched it out. Holland, who had a very quiet game. Big Dan Burn did a job on there. A lot of people saying that he's Big Dan Burn still has him in his pocket. 72 minutes, Pope saved from a Foden shot. Bodies are being put in the line, getting the blocks in. Then a triple substitution from Newcastle. Willock, Longstaff, and Trips come on. Barnes, Tonali, and Tino come off. A combination of that some way or the other. I try to describe that wrong there.
You
know what I meant. You know what I meant. Yeah. But yeah, then 79 minutes, Longstaff shot just wide. Man City time wasting when they're 1-1 at St. James's Park. To shout from the crowd, "Are you Arsenal in disguise?" Like it. From the crowd. J7 got robbed then about twice in the space of 10 minutes. He was getting very tired though at that. 3 times I didn't see he was getting tired.
Trust me, I kept count.
Yeah, it was kind of getting worrying where we're kind of just wanted to see it out there at that stage. But yeah, the 91 minutes, an absolute whirly of a save from the volley from Bernardo Silva, and Pope with an absolute unreal save. And it wasn't over yet because 94 minutes, Holland had a header saved as well. But it ended 1-1. It ended with the draw full time. We'll take that, boys. We'll take that draw. But even better, an absolutely excellent performance from Newcastle. Would you? What am I going to say? Were you happy with the result overall, lads? I know the answer already, but
go on, Chris.
I was delighted, absolutely delighted. And Pete, I think this was just before you joined the stream when I was talking to Daz pre-show. Like I said, it's funny, isn't it, how you look back over games and how quickly a result or a fixture can turn things around in your head. Because, you know, after the Fulham game, I was really down. Yes, it was only the first defeat of the season, but we haven't been playing well. But then I said, isn't it funny how, you know, we lost at Craven Cottage, which, you know, away from home, it's never easy there, you know, they're a decent side, as they showed today. And, you know, if you'd have said to me, oh, you'll draw away at Craven Cottage and you'll lose, you know, at home to Man City, you'd have probably gone, yeah, it's not bad, it's not bad. And effectively, that's what we've done points-wise. Obviously, we've lost at Craven Cottage, which, you know, was a poor performance and, you know, disappointing that we didn't pick up any points. But then to get a point, it's very much a point gain today, very much a point gained, but more so the results. It's more about the performance for me today, because I feel like, sounds a bit dramatic, but I feel like I've got my team back. Like this performance is what we saw under Eddie Howe, you know, when we got our takeover. That's kind of it was a nostalgic moment. And like I say, at half time, I genuinely can't remember the last time I was looking forward to a second half so much, even though we went in 1-0 down, because the 45 minutes I've watched was so encouraging. And then we continued that second half. I think you said in the chat, Pete, you know, we need to keep doing this, keep doing what we're doing. And we absolutely did. Even the subs today, you know, the subs came on and had an impact, which was really nice to see. We're missing our star striker, and we've gone toe-to-toe with Manchester City today, and we've given them a bloody good go. And yes, you know, they're missing Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri, which is a big miss. But then you look at the replacements that they've got. It's no mean feat to perform the way we did against Manchester City, but also stop Erling Haaland from scoring and come away with a point. And, you know, Pep's always very complimentary when he talks about Newcastle, but I can see why he is, because every time we play against Man City, we always give them a good game, and none more so than today. That's one of my most favourite performances in recent times. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And this sounds crazy to say, but even if we'd lost that 2-1, I'd have still come away with a smile on my face, because I thought, you know what, we give it a bloody good go. And we tried, and we actually looked like we belonged there. You know what I mean? We belonged at the top, with competing against the top and giving them a really good game. But the fact that we came away with a point, I'm absolutely delighted, and it gives me loads of confidence now going into the cup game on Tuesday, and then obviously Everton next week.
Everton won as well today, Chris. So you have that monkey off your back too, don't you?
Oh, mate, like I said, I'm going to have to be careful how I word this, because I said to you that night, I'm delighted Everton won today. Not because it's Everton, just purely because now I fancy us even more to go to Goodison and win. Because if they either lost or drew today, you just know they're going to get their first win against us, because it's just a Newcastle thing to do. But the fact they've got the first win, hopefully they'll come in really confident, and then we can just upset them and, you know, put them to bed. Because if we perform like we did today against Everton next week, I think we'll bounce them everywhere. I really, really do, because that's how well we played. And Everton are not Man City. So I think we can go to Goodison Park, get the 3 points, and, you know, this difficult run of fixtures, all of a sudden, you know, you start to look at it and think, you know what, we've got half a chance here to pick up some points. I think we said, didn't we, boys? Well, I said I got this wrong last time. I said 5 points, and you boys said 7 points. We've got a point. Yeah. So on to the next 4 games now.
Speaking of points, then, Pete, I'll ask you the same question, but put another question in front of it. If I said to you, after 6 games, Newcastle would be 3 points behind Man City, would you be happy with that?
Yeah, you take that all day. You take that all day because you know how good Man City are. Let's not beat around the bush. They're arguably the best team in the world, or very close to it, with the Real Madrid either just in front of them or just behind them. And they've got the best manager in the world, in my opinion. And so you would expect them to have a significant amount of points on the board. So if you're putting yourself 3 points within them, you know you're doing okay. And this is it. And this is sort of what I was maybe fighting with and reflecting on during the week. Is that we were all so disappointed about the Fulham result, but then you look at you put it into perspective and you think, actually, it's not that bad. Yeah, I think it's more disappointing because we were getting points on the board and you just don't want to lose. You don't want to lose when you're on a run. And so you're disappointed that it happened and the manner it happened, but you look at it, you think, actually, it's not that bad. You're going to lose matches. You're going to draw matches over the course of the season, but it's how you do it and when you do it in the season that makes the difference. And so I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, yeah, we're not in a bad position now. You look at this situation, and we lost last season. We've gained a point there, massive plus. I'm happy right now. I'm really happy right now, and if we can build on this performance, we're in a really good spot. I mean, we've just talked about potential of 5 points, 7 points over the next few games. I'm looking at the next 2, and I'm looking at Everton away. Cup aside for a second, I'm looking at Everton away and Brighton at home, and I'm thinking we can win both, and that gets us to our 7 points with 2 games to spare, with Chelsea away and Arsenal at home. There's no reason why we shouldn't be looking at these 2 games and going, right, let's get the points on the board. I'm really enthused and encouraged by what I saw today. Really, really pleased. Now, the one thing for me, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking now, can we take that into Everton? Can we play with that sort of intensity, that press, that workmanlike, that battle-like ability? Can we put that into a team where they're not necessarily going to punish us or create a significant threat like Man City? Can we force them back? Can we go to Goodison Park on Saturday and go, right, we're going to play exactly the same way. We're going to push you back and we're going to put you to the sword. Can we go and do that? And if we can, like we had when we finished 4th and we put 4 past them, we're capable of that. So that's the big question next. But I just wanted to touch on really quickly, I'm just going to read some percentages out to you. So for the first half, Newcastle United had 41% possession to Man City's 59%. And the expected goals are pretty much the same. Total shots were 1 or 2 off, with Man City having slightly more, 1 more shot on target and 1 big chance being the goal. Now, what's really interesting to me is the second half, the percentages of possession was very different. 34% to Newcastle, 66% to Man City. However, our expected goals is a hell of a lot better than Man City's. 1.26 to Man City's 0.58. That was a team that was pushing to try and win the game.
Yeah.
And we outplayed them. We had 2 big chances in the game to their 0 in the second half. These are second half statistics. So regardless of their possession, we were still a constant threat in the game. And the fact that Kovacic and I think Guardiola will come out after the game, as well as Pep Guardiola has said, no, don't underestimate Newcastle United. Very tough place to go to. It's almost like they're walking away today, and a lot of Man City fans are walking away today going, point, not the worst thing in the world. When have Man City ever come to St. James's Park and are literally walking away thinking, yeah, not a bad point today?
Yeah.
Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know about how teams and clubs look at Newcastle United now? They look at us as a threat. They look at us as a team that they could genuinely drop points to. That performance today can set a marker on us being an absolute fortress this season. That type of performance can make the fact that Brighton come to us and shit the bed. That will make the likes of Arsenal worry. Like, you've got Arsenal fans in the chat that are like saying, thank you. You helped us out today. Great stuff.
It's just they nearly didn't help themselves, Pete.
Yeah. Shay AFC, it was then very quickly saying, don't we play you in a few weeks? You do. And by then, we're not only going to have Isak back, we'll have Wilson back too by that point. And who knows? It's in November. Maybe Sven Botman. Like, who knows? I'm just throwing that out there. But like, we're coming into a situation now where teams are worried about us. And that can only be a good thing. And if we get out of November, if we get out of our next 2 or 3 home games of playing the likes of Brighton and Arsenal, and we come unbeaten, and then we have like the likes of West Ham coming to us next, we've got then a run up until I think February of teams where you'd probably expect to beat them. That if we can get out of those situations unbeaten and even win those games, we're in a position where we can be absolutely putting teams to the sword up until late on into the second half of the season, which is a great position to be in. And we've always said it, and we said it in the season we finished 4th, and we'll say it again. If you can win your home games and make your ground a fortress, and you can almost guarantee yourself 3 points, you are going to put yourself in a conversation, not only for Europe, but for Champions League. And then it's about, can you put your away form? Can your away form be good enough? Can you avoid defeat? Can you pick up points on the road, wins, draws, to add to that? We were 8 points off last season of Champions League. Nobody would have ever thought that the way our season went. But it was because we were a fortress at home in the most part. And ultimately, and George Life said Liverpool in December. Yeah, look, hey, this isn't the same Liverpool. This isn't a Klopp Liverpool. I'm not worried about Liverpool. We deserve to put Liverpool to the sword. We've had some close shaves with them in years gone by. We should have won last season. It's our time now to put them to the sword. So I ain't worried about them. Man City, Arsenal, top teams. I'm not going to lie. Any team outside of Man City and Arsenal, I'm confident we can win. I am. And so I'm looking at the situation. I'm thinking, we've got a chance to make ourselves a fortress. It's our away form that's going to make the difference. We need to get rid of the Fulham performances, and we need to get back to putting performances in where we're getting results on the board, results like Wolves, or performances that are better, like, for example, against Brentford last game of the season, where we looked good for long periods of time over that course of that game. So that's where I am. So much positivity going into next week. I fully expect us to win on Tuesday. Then we go to Everton, and that Everton game away from home, that will tell me so much more about where we're going to be kicking on to.
A massive game for this man as well, obviously, in return to Goodison for Flash. And you threw a stat up. I'll throw a stat back at you, Pete. 7. Anthony Gordon has won the most penalties in the Premier League since the start of last season. 7. And he definitely deserves that 6-year contract, which he alluded to before the game, and Eddie Howe alluded to it afterwards as well. It's just a matter of signing, it looks like it. So maybe even this week that gets sorted. Right, let's go to the table. Let's go and let's have a quick look at the table before we move on to anything else. Boom, there you can see it now. Right, so Liverpool on top, 15 after their win today against Wolves, 2-1 final score there. Man City, obviously, Arsenal on 14 points. Chelsea, who had a good win today. Cole Palmer with the 4 goals in that game against Brighton. Interesting game, that one. I know we're keeping an eye on that one earlier. The Chelsea with 13 points, Villa on 12, Fulham and ourselves on 11. Fulham having a very, very good start to the season, must be said. And the back by Wolfies Forest today as well. Brighton on 9, and Forest at 9, and Tottenham down there on 7. I think we'll have to add an element of to top level talk, maybe a live relegation, because we have all these teams that are not even in the top 10. Man United, West Ham. What's going on?
To be fair, West Ham ain't been on top table talk yet. So.
No, I know. I'm going to stop putting them on the poster, I think, soon. But your thoughts on the table, lads?
To coin a to coin a Liam Gallagher phrase, as you were, I think we've got a valuable point today. We're sitting 7th, 4 points off Liverpool, and let's not forget, Pete, you raised a really good point before when you were talking about Liverpool. They're not the Liverpool of old, and Liverpool, for me, haven't really come up against any big threats so far. They had that really good game against Man United, which anybody is capable of. They've played lots of teams, which I believe has kind of put them in a little bit of a false position. Are Liverpool going to have a good season? Yeah, I think they will. I don't think come February, March, they're even going to be in the title discussion. I'll be honest. I think they will drop away. I think they're going to have difficulties. Even when I'm watching them now, I don't look at them and think, oh, these are going to be hard work. Like I agree with you when you say that, we owe them one, and I think we're more than capable of giving them one as well, particularly if we perform like we did today. It's all about translating home performances like today into the away performances, and what better way to do it than to go to Goodison Park next weekend and do that. But no, the league table looks good. I'm happy with where we are. You could argue that we should be in the bottom 10 given the performances, but more importantly, we've picked up the results. So now that we've gone through that period of not being able to play very well, struggling a little bit, I'm hoping today is the start, the start of our season, if you like, in terms of performances. I mean, we mentioned this, didn't we, boys, on the Man City away show through the week, that this game has probably come at exactly the right time, because all the players, if you can't get up for Man City at home, you're not going to get up for any game. So this has come at a really good time. The Anthony Gordon rumour has been put to bed, as we mentioned earlier. Alexander Isak, hopefully he's resting up, getting himself ready for next weekend. Sandro Tonali's in the starting 11. Lewis Hall, I'm sure we'll maybe touch on individual performances shortly, but really, really good performance from Lewis Hall today. Like, he didn't look out of place whatsoever. I thought he played really, really well. And yeah, lots and lots and lots and lots of positives today. And the fact that we're still, in the conversation, we're still in the discussion. We're 2 points away from top 4? I'm more than happy with that.
Are you happy,
Absolutely.
Pete?
Yeah, very happy. Yeah, we could argue about, we could be higher. We could have had one. We could have got points on the board, Fulham, all the rest of it. We could argue that all day. But if you'd have asked me after 6 games, are we going to be in the top 7? Would you be happy with that? I would have said absolutely. We're right in the mix. When you've got, like you boys have just mentioned, like Spurs, Man United, West Ham, not even really in the conversation at the moment. And Spurs and Man United play each other tomorrow. So that's one of them is going to be dropping points, or both of them are going to be dropping points, which is music to our ears. So you're going to keep them down there. West Ham, this is one of their run of games that they expected to win after some difficult games. They drew and could have quite easily lost that game today. So
yes,
if we can ride our most difficult period of this first half of the season, because for me it is, you got today's game. You've got Everton, which will be kind of more of expected to win, but then you've got Brighton, you've got Chelsea, you've got Arsenal, and then I think we're away to someone else after that period. They're a tough 5 games to go to, even with Everton, because you're going away from home. Everton are always better at home than they are away. So you've got 5 difficult games there to look at. And let's not forget, you've got the Chelsea potentially, if we win on Tuesday, to come in between that. If we can ride that situation and be significant points in a gap between them, like that's music to our ears in terms of really kicking on and pushing for this European spot. Because look, let's be honest, like Fulham are having a good start, but Fulham can quite easily drop off. Brighton are very inconsistent. Look at the teams around us in that league at the moment. Forest will be up and down. They will be. Had a great start, but they will be up and down. If we can stay semi-consistent throughout these difficult games, and maybe drop points along the way, but be picking up points to be in that conversation within the top 6 or 7, that's a perfect scenario. What we want is to be in a great position come January, so we're right in the mix, because we know we've got at least 70 million to put down. We might not spend it all, but we've got money to spend at least. But we've got money to spend on a player if we want to improve the team. And if we're fighting for European football, that's going to attract so many more players wanting to come to play for Newcastle United. That is for sure. So, look, we're in a good spot right now, and let's not think too far ahead. I've kind of just gone off on a tangent there, but we're in a good position right now. Looking at Everton will give you chances. I've just had a little quick look at their stats today from the game. Palace can't hit a barn door. They had 17 shots to Everton's 8. They had 5 of them on target. Everton had 2 shots on target and scored both.
Yeah.
Like, that is like we are a considerably better team. If we set up the way we have been and we're as dogged as we have been, and we've got a goalkeeper that's top drawer, made an absolute superb save today. Again, was it from Silva? Bernardo Silva, in the game.
Oh,
superb. Yeah, it might have been straight down the middle, but the reactions to get that up and away and not carry it back into the play again, like we're in a position where we can really go to Everton and cause them problems. There was no doubt about it. But yeah, I'm full of positivity as we move on. That's for sure.
Daz,
we're not finished.
Do me a favour, mate. Can you just bring that league table up a sec? I just wanted to talk about the just very, very briefly, just about the media narrative, because all I've heard in the past few weeks is how fantastic Chelsea are. Chelsea have turned up. Chelsea are now the team to beat. Aston Villa, similar. Brighton, even Brighton are obviously they've struggled the last couple of weeks. Brighton, but Brighton are a force to be reckoned with. We're 2 points ahead of Brighton, and having not played very well apart from today. We're 2 points behind the all singing, all dancing Chelsea, who, for me, the jury's still out. Yes, they look far better than what they did last season. Not denying that. Maresca seems to have got a tune out of them, and he's got like a select group of a squad now. And he's basically said to the players he doesn't want involved. Listen, you're not in my thoughts. And I think that was what needed to happen. I think Graham Potter was too nice, and I think it's cost previous Chelsea managers the job, because they've not been, cutthroat and said, listen, you're not in my plans, you're out. So Chelsea have made a good start, but whether they can do it over a longer period, I don't know. And Aston Villa, I watched 12th Man the other night, Pete. I don't know whether you saw it, the Fight for Europe show. I think it was on the Monday, and everyone's saying, oh yeah, well, Villa top four, and I'm thinking, hang on, we as it stands, boys, we're 1 point behind Aston Villa, and we've not been playing very well. We really, really haven't. And people are. Somebody said, I forget who it was, and it's not fair to name names anyway, but somebody said, oh, and the manager, they've got the Champions League, the manager in the Champions League, and you think, hang on, they've played young boys. And I think Bayern Munich's coming up, and various other clubs. We're 1 week in. 1 week in. Let's have this conversation in December and see if we're still having the same conversation.
But, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Sorry, I was wrapping up anyway, mate. But the fact that we're 2 points behind Chelsea, who the media say are absolutely brilliant, we're a point behind Aston Villa, who are fantastic, and we're 2 points ahead of Brighton, who Herzl has come in and transformed them, and they're brilliant and they're wonderful. And yet again, we're getting the narrative of Newcastle, got beat by Fulham, first loss of the season. I don't think they're going to get. I think they're going to struggle to get Europe this season. And today's performance is just shoving it a bit back in the face and going, actually, when Newcastle turn up, when Newcastle perform, this is what we can produce. And we're one of the top 4, 5, 6 best teams in this league. I'm convinced of it. When we're all firing, we're more than capable of finishing those top 4 positions. And if we continue to play the way that we did today, I think there'll be a lot of people eating humble pie come January, February, because we'll be up there challenging, fighting for those top European spots. But sorry, Pete, what were you going to say?
No, I agree with you. The thoughts that you had when I was watching it, I had exactly the same thoughts. But I come to expect this. I come to expect it, and I'm happy. Let them do it. Let them big up Villa. Let them talk about Villa. Let them have Villa as a dead cert for top 4 or the rest of it, because of the points that you've made. They've only played young boys. They've got big games to come, and let's not kid ourselves. October, November, December are taxing on teams, particularly when they're in Europe.
We saw it.
If
We
they,
saw it.
of course we did. And if they stay in the Carabao Cup, it will continue to be. The one benefit to Newcastle, in addition to that, is that they play 8 games. So it now goes into January. Whereas if they get deep into the Carabao Cup, they're going to have the Carabao Cup and the Champions League to contest with. They're going to have games coming out of their ears. And God forbid they pick up a few injuries, because they're then going to start to feel it, and players are going to have to play 3 games a week. Let them talk. I called Potts out on this on Friday when I was on 12th Man, and I said it was very interesting that after one bad result for Newcastle United, he had us finishing 4th, and then all of a sudden Villa are going to be the ones to finish 4th. That's it now. That they're the ones. Them are back. And I said it. I said it was very interesting how you changed the tune on that. But I don't mind. I'll add it even further. Normally, if someone ends up causing an upset and dropping points off Man City or Arsenal or Liverpool, that chat is blowing up like mad. That chat hasn't blown up once today, not once, right? And I fully expect it, because some of those guys don't like talking about Newcastle United positively. Some of those guys are jealous of the fact that Newcastle United are doing well. The Man Uniteds, the West Hams, the Brightons, all them, they don't want Newcastle United doing well, because they see us now as a genuine threat. Some of them don't want to talk about Newcastle United because they don't like the trajectory that they know we're on. Might not be this year or next year or the year after, but they know we're coming, and they don't like it. So therefore, they're more happy to talk about Villa. Oh, Villa, brilliant. Why? Is because they see Villa as a generic, genuine kind of project. They don't like that we're owned by PIF. That's what it is. Yeah, they don't like the fact that we're owned by PIF, and the fact that we've got lots of money behind us. So I had an interesting conversation with Sam, who does the editing stuff for 12th Man, and he's very in my opinion, I think he's very anti Newcastle United. I don't think he likes Newcastle United. And when it came out about the
you clip that now.
Yeah, clip it. I don't really care. But like the associated party transactions, he was very much against it. Why? Is because it was only when he found out that Newcastle United might well be able to strengthen their financial position, all of a sudden, I don't want that. Don't want that. It's a fix. It's ruining football. Hold on a second. What about everything before the 3 years ago when they put this into place, where anyone could get a sponsorship and they didn't have to go through some form of independent tribunal or independent panel to see if your sponsorships were even okay? Like you know what I mean? It's just like they can see that if it's going to benefit Newcastle, it's going to put their nose out of joint, because Newcastle United are going to be then a spending power. And let's not kid ourselves. They want Alexander Isak. They want him next summer.
Yeah.
This is why Arsenal haven't signed a striker this year, because they will come for him. They will come for him, which is why it's imperative now. And the talk from Anthony Gordon and Eddie Howe after the game is that contract is being signed this week for Anthony Gordon. So he will be signing a new deal. Yeah. That's all being wrapped up. For me, it's imperative now that over the international break, Isak signs 1 too. And that will end any conversation of him moving. No release clause. Give him what he wants. Give him 150, 160, 170, whatever money he wants, wages a week, because he is worth it. And let Arsenal then make a decision. Are you going to want to pay 140 million, 150 million? Are you going to want to pay that to get him out the door in the summer? Not a chance. And that just means we keep Alexander Isak regardless for another year, which is a great thing.
I think Arsenal would go in for Benjamin Sesko, who's on fire as well. Remember they were looking at Cockers as well. Yeah, actually,
Cockers in the summer, and I met. It was really interesting. I mentioned him to Potts, and he was a bit like, because the Sesko, the interest was big earlier on in the summer. And I think he's done a little bit of watching on Sesko, on Gyökeres, and now he's all in on Gyökeres. And Gyökeres is, like you said, Chris, he's flying this year. Wouldn't be surprised if Gyökeres comes through the double.
Yeah.
But equally, I'd get Gyökeres for Newcastle United. I'd say bye-bye to Wilson, and I'd get Gyökeres in because they've shown for Sweden that they can play together. If you're going to go big on a striker, go get him in. If we get Champions League football, he'd be the first I'd go for. Get him in with ease.
Oh, now look who's talking about Champions League football. But hang on, if I know, I take your quote, Pete. I'm not gonna lie. When Chris starts talking about other YouTube channels, I start to worry. I don't know what he's going to come out with their quote next, but we'll move on. Right, let's get into it. And no, before we go to questions, and we kind of pick our star player from the game as well. I want to get this draw out of the way because I will forget. I want to get a double draw for our members. But we're not finished yet. There's still an awful lot more to talk about, and make sure you smash that like button as well as we're setting up. But here is the spinny wheel. It's back. We haven't seen it for a while. There's 119 names in the spinny wheel. So, Chris, what is the first prize for?
Right, so we're doing split prizes tonight, and like Daz said at the start, we want to catch up on these members' draws because we fell behind a little bit, so we thought it's a long overdue. So let's get it in. And after such a fantastic performance, Newcastle United are back, members' draws are back. That's the way we're looking at it. So the first prize for this evening is going to be, I think we agreed, Daz, didn't we, that it was going to be a Loaded Mag mug from our merch website.
Yes, so there's a few different mugs there available. So we can look at the options there for the winner.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we get in touch with the winner, we can ask which one they'd like. So we will do that.
So let's spin and see what we get. So are we going to have 3 prizes then, or are we going to do 2 on the on the loaded merch?
Of course, yeah, because we said about the double bundle, didn't we? Apologies.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a loaded mug and a loaded t-shirt. That's right. We did say that, didn't we, Dad? So it's going to be a loaded mug and a loaded t-shirt as the first prize, and that's from our merch website.
Cool, and there's various different colors and stuff like that as well.
Chance to check it out. Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Apologies.
Go for it, Dad.
With me sharing this, a bit of delay kicks in. So let's spin and see who wins the first prize of the loaded bundle. George Hayes.
George Hayes. Well done, George.
Congratulations, George.
Congratulations.
So,
Brilliant,
George, you need to get in contact with us because we're going to need your address, including your postcode and your t-shirt size as well. The mug's generic would be okay, and the color t-shirt you'd like to pick. So just get in contact with us, and we'll sort it out from there. But that is prize number 1. What is prize number 2, Chris?
Prize number 2, Dazzler, is going to be a gift from our good sponsors, Manscaped. We've not actually chosen, because we were having a little discussion pre-show, weren't we? But we've not actually chosen the prize yet. But the prize will be selected, and when we get in touch with the winner, we will let you know what you've won. So the prize will be a gift from the Manscaped website. And don't forget, as we always say, get yourself onto Manscaped, and if there's anything that you fancy on the website, don't forget you can use our Loaded20 code, and that will get you 20% off any gift, including free shipping. So don't forget about that. But yeah, that is going to be the prize, Daz. So it's going to be a gift from the Manscaped website, and when the winner is announced, we will get in touch with them, and we will tell them what the gift is.
All right, let's spin that wheel again.
Good luck, everyone.
Ooh, that was very close. It was nearly landed on you, Chris.
It wasn't nearly on me.
No. Yeah, it was nearly. I thought I started laughing first. Victoria Shepherd equals Dave Shepherd, because Victoria is Dave's daughter. So congratulations, Dave. Dave, who was unloaded back pretty much at the start. So congratulations to David. So we'll get in contact with Dave, or we'll find you as well, and we'll sort that out from the Manscaped range. Nice.
I was thinking I was gonna have to make a balls joke there, but thankfully we know it's Dave, so we don't have to make that joke. Brilliant. Well done, Dave.
You know what? While we're at it, we might as well give our shout out to Manscaped now, because fellas, and including Victoria, do you want your grooming routine to be the one and done deal? Well, the days of using the same trimmer for your face and your private parts are over, thanks to our friends at Manscaped. They've come up with the ultimate package to keep your hairs trimmed from 12 to 6, introducing the Beard and Balls bundle featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger, a trimmer for the moneymaker and another for the boys downstairs. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code LOADED20. That's LOADED20. And that's 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. So for your premium grooming experience, trust Manscaped. And I hope you don't play this back, David, to your daughter. Has to endure listening to that. But thanks to our sponsors at Manscaped. Right. I think we'll go now back to let's get a few questions maybe first and get that.
Did we say we were going to do play of the match, Stas?
We can do player of the match first, yeah. That's you. Let's go to you, Chris. You have something to say about player of the match, I think.
Excited. Yeah. So yeah, no, mine's a nice easy one. I'll do my top three, and I'll tell you who's won it for me. So coming third, I think I'm going to pick Dan Burn. Dan Burn's coming for a little bit of criticism in recent weeks, but let's not forget he was playing against arguably the best striker in the world, and I thought Dan Burn did really well today. I know we give him a little bit of criticism for the Gvardiol goal, but on the whole, I thought Dan Burn played really, really well. And like I say, it was so funny to see him pressing like he was. It was really, really weird seeing like a 6'7" bloke running up the pitch and pressing the goalkeeper and the defence as much as he did. So that was really, really good to see. I thought Dan Burn was a colossus today, and like I say, coming up against someone like Haaland is not easy. And I thought he kept him quiet, and he did really, really well. So made some really important blocks as well. Second on my list was Lewis Hall. I thought he had one of his best games in a Newcastle shirt, if I'm honest. I thought he was absolutely fantastic today. There was one moment where he cleared the ball and he didn't clear it great, and it went to a Man City player, and that was a little bit edgy. But genuinely, other than that, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. There was a lovely little round the corner ball he played when we were under a little bit of pressure, and it helped us break out. The commentator was waxing lyrical over it as well. It was a brilliant little intricate pass. But I thought Lewis Hall looked really comfortable today. I thought he defensively was solid. And going forward, I thought he was great. He come up against a really tough competitor today in Bernardo Silva, and I thought he did really, really well. And obviously, you know, Savinho came on as well, which is no easy feat. But my winner of man of the match today was Anthony Gordon. It was all about Anthony Gordon today, playing in an unfamiliar role. Yes, we know he's played a striker before, but I just thought he set the tone for the squad. Wins the penalty, scores the penalty, the celebration, the war flags at the start. Everything was about Anthony Gordon today. The contract talks, and he did exactly what he needed to do. And I just thought he was brilliant. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And please, Anthony, if you're watching, put that in every week, mate. Put that in every week, because it was absolutely fantastic. And you know, the fans, I think he said he was quite emotional when he saw the war flags presentation. If he keeps performing like he did today, I'm sure there'll be many more to come as well. So get that contract signed and keep playing like that, because it was brilliant.
Pete, who were your star performer or performers?
Yeah, I'll start with man of the match first. So yeah, I agree. I think Anthony Gordon deserves to be man of the match. I'm surprised he wasn't giving it on TV, to be fair. And they went with Gvardiol. I mean, Gvardiol was just a special player. He is. As you touched on it earlier, I watched him in the first half, and he was almost playing as a winger or a striker for most of that half. I don't know how they've managed to transition a left back, centre back into a winger stroke striker, but he does it so well. So I understand why they considered him, but for me, Anthony Gordon was absolutely superb today in his position and what he did. That's probably the best I've seen him play in that forward role, considering he did it for England under 21s. That's the best I've seen him play. And if he can play like that on a regular basis, I think we'll be fine with him being back up. So definitely man of the match for me. From a Newcastle perspective, a few shout outs to a few other players. Chris is right with the likes of Dan Burn, and I had Lewis Hall in there as well. As I thought he was fantastic. Definitely his best game at left back for the club. But I'm going to give some shout outs to others. I thought Jacob Murphy was brilliant today. I thought he was really, really good on that right hand side. I thought when you've got Jacob Murphy megging fullbacks and literally running and leaving top players for dead, and making them like literally shit the bed, which is what they did time and time again when he was on the ball. It tells you he was literally doing that on the way by. I thought he was very, very good. So fair play to Jacob Murphy on that. And I thought people might have questioned his starting berth, but he definitely proved why he should have played. Decision making wasn't always there, but his endeavour and his work rate defensively and attacking wise was very good. And I'm going to give a shout out to our captain. I thought Bruno Guimaraes was very, very good. I think we asked the question last week. We need big performances from our big players, and he took responsibility last week, having given the ball away for the third goal for Fulham, and he promised a better performance from the team and from himself, and he certainly delivered that. Absolutely. I mean, he covered the most ground of any player on the pitch. I think it was like 11 point something kilometers, which we become accustomed to. But he gives everything for the club, and he did so today. And as well as that, I think there was like 9 duels that he won. He was all over the place. He got a yellow card. Didn't let him stop him. He was battling. He was getting his foot in there, recovering balls, and making things happen going forward. He was very, very good, and he did set the tone for that midfield. And Joe Linton and Tonali definitely obliged and added to that midfield and added some real steel in there. So another couple of players different to what Chris mentioned, but I think they both deserve a shout out because I thought they were both excellent as well.
Yeah, well, it's only fair. So if I go and pick a few more different players, and I'll start at third and work up. Right, third for me, I'm going to say Trips, because I was all on for Tino to start a right back, and Trips surprised me, and he was making those runs, and even in the very start, that run where Sharp picked him out as well, and he got in and nearly got something out of it. He ran out of steam. He has to start first for a while as well, so he did run out of steam at the end, but I'm delighted that Tino then come on to finish off the job. So then I'm going to go for the second place. I'm going to go for Tonali, because just great to see him start as well and put himself about. And there's so much more to come from Tonali in a Newcastle shirt. So looking forward to that going as we move in throughout the season and beyond. But it's a round the house clean sweep for this man.
Stand for every one of us.
Man of the match, step forward, Anthony Gordon, from Loaded this week. Nice one. Where was I going to go next? Maybe some questions, Chris. Make sure you smash that like button as well if you haven't done so already. Let's get a few questions.
Absolutely, mate. We'll get these questions rocking and rolling. Pete, I know you've highlighted some as well too, mate. So if you want to jump in too and pick some, please do. Let's see. Yeah, Joe Team for Life makes a really good comment. We've become the first team to stop Haaland from scoring in the league this season. That's a mean feat in itself. So that was
You know what? lads, I got a message from one of my close mates who's a Chelsea fan. We were talking whilst the 3:00 kickoffs were going on, and he mentioned something else. He mentioned something similar. He was like, "Oh, flipping hell, you managed to stop Haaland. It's no mean feat and fair play." But actually, if you look back at the games that we played against Man City, there's a lot of times we have stopped Haaland.
Yeah.
We're probably one of the only clubs that have managed to keep him quiet for a long period of the amount of games that he's played against us since he signed for the club. If you look at it, we may not be the least amount, like in terms of who he scored against, but we're certainly near the bottom in terms of the goals that he's put against us. We do tend to keep him quiet, and it's normally because of Sven Botman. But today, as you mentioned, Chris, quite rightly, Dan Burn, I thought, was absolutely... He did a man marking job on him. You watched in the first half, he was following him wherever he went, and he did an absolute superb job on him. But we do tend to keep him quiet. So is it that much of a surprise? Maybe because he's just a robot and he just scores goals for fun. But yeah, it's not the first time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. DBN UFC 1983, I'm going to pop this up, mate. Thoughts on Lewis Hall? You've probably heard what we just said, but thought Lewis Hall was absolutely brilliant today, mate. Really, really good performance, and hopefully plenty more of those, to come. I like this one from Jake Curtin. He put this in the chat earlier. Jake Curtin says, Chris, Gordon's back. Is Trippier?
I think Trips he's back from his shaky season last season, where he gave the ball away a number of times, letting goals on the back of it, especially from, say, after November kind of time. But he do, and it is great that we have Tino and Trips now, and we can rotate and see who, depending on who we're up against as well. Pick the best suited for the given game. But I think he is back. But my worry is, does he want to stay? Is he going to be happy with that role with January looming?
Competition, boys. We said it in the summer. It's now competition. This is what Newcastle United is all about now. We've got players that are competing for positions. So just as easily as Tino can be on the bench, so can Trippier. So they've got to perform when they're in the team. And that's the type of performance you got today. So now, when we get to away days next week, we've now got a tough question on our hands. Does Trippier start after his performance again today? Do you start him away at Goodison Park? This is what it's all about. When you want a great squad of players, not just first 11. You want a great squad to choose from, just like Man City had today. They had quality players coming off the bench. Hey, this is a great position to be in.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Pete, but was this the start of it, or was it the second in a row? Because that was one of the little run of games last season where Trippier had the meltdown, wasn't it? It was against Everton.
Yeah, that was when it started, because that was the game. Wasn't it? That was the Thursday game after the Saturday when we beat Man United at home 1-0, and that's when Pope did his shoulder. Yes. So that was the first game we had to Bradford. And he gave the goal. He gave both goals, two goals away at Goodison Park. So is he going to want to make amends? It's a great question to have, and a great position to be in, because equally. Livramento came on, and then Doku came on straight afterwards, and Livramento locked down Doku. Doku wasn't even a factor in the rest of that game when he came on, and he was meant to be brought on to make a difference. So you've got players there that have either started or come off the bench and done their jobs. So great question as well.
Does Kraft start against Wimbledon in right back?
Not for me.
I think it's Tino. But what will be, in fact, Daz raised a good point there. I think Tino starts against Wimbledon, and if he does, I think that means that Trippier will start against Everton.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
whoever starts on Tuesday doesn't
the
start.
other one. Yeah. And that's all about squad rotation, isn't it? That's what it's all about. And to have that luxury, as you just mentioned, Pete, is brilliant. That's what we need. So Jordy Tune for Life, I've just flashed this up. What a performance from the lads. Special mention goes to Gordon, outstanding. Bruno never gave an inch. Hall, excellent performance. Trippier, also excellent. Antonali. Couldn't agree more, mate. Could not agree more with that. Nathan Page, how good was it to see Gordon so bang on it today? There's another Gordon comment I'm going to come to in a minute, which I didn't know, and I absolutely loved it. So I'm going to come to that in a minute. Jacqueline Hood saying, Tuno, what a game. Oh, what a deserved point. Fully agree. Absolutely agree. Bill Ashby, very similar. Big Dan Burn showed his worth today. Brilliant performance up against Haaland. Yeah, Bill, we said the same, mate. Totally agree. Some really interesting questions here, but I am going to come to them shortly. So let's. Oh, where's the Gordon one that I've seen? And I've seen it, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. It's really interesting. Here we go. Kev T. Kev T says, did you hear his interview when he said he never had his head turned and he wanted to come out and say it but couldn't? He is a top lad.
Oh,
was that in TNT or was that a different interview?
I'm not sure. Kev, if you're still in the chat, mate, let us know. Let us know. Love to hear that. Love to hear that.
And of course, he has to say that when he signed the contract as well.
Oh. And do you know what, though? To be fair, though, if he did say he had his head turned, I don't think anyone would question him, because from what we've heard, Newcastle were, they're having conversations with Liverpool overselling him. But the fact that he's come out and said that, you're right, Daz. It draws a line under it. Sorry, Pete. What were you going to say, mate?
No. I'm with you. His hometown club, the club he supported as a boy. Would we be mad if that was the case? No, we had the same Valenciano when he came to Newcastle and he turned down Man United. Like, he came to his hometown club. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And you've got to understand it. You might be frustrated by it, but you've got to understand it. But and for that 2-3 day period, he might have been starting to get his head around it, because it might have been quite close. And when you do, it may well affect you. But if he's saying that, this was blown way out of proportion, and once it didn't go through, I was back on focus for Newcastle United, then if he's happy with it, we should be happy with it. It's as simple as that. And like you said, Chris, earlier on in the show, I would be looking out for his celebrations too, to show out and see how passionate he is. And the fact that he kissed the badge. He kissed the badge and he did all the celebration, and he showed the passion that he normally did and he did last season. For me, the conversation's done. Like, I don't even need to have this conversation about Liverpool anymore. Because
get him on the back of your shirt. Safe.
Yeah, the fact that he's kissing the badge and he's passionate and he's doing all of that. He signed the contract with less wages than he initially asked for. There's no release clause in there. You don't do that unless you're happy and content with the club and the football that you're currently getting at Newcastle United. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. I did also enjoy, by the way, boys, I don't know if you noticed it, I did also enjoy that Bruno tried to kiss the badge as well on Gordon's shirt. I thought that was brilliant.
I did see a picture.
Every game, he does something. Yeah. He's doing something mad.
But it was Gordon's badge, wasn't it? So Gordon's badge was Gordon's badge was like over here, like up here, and like Bruno's got his face over Gordon's shoulder, like trying to kiss his badge. That was brilliant. I love it. Oh, God.
Where are we?
That's a celebration we have to work on, lads, now for the charity game.
Yeah. I like that. Lat asks a quick one. I'm not sure of the answer. What game will Wilson be back for? Lat, personally, I think it's after the international break, but I could be wrong.
No, that's it. That's exactly what Eddie Howe said. He was meant to be back now, but not that he's had a setback, but he's not recovered in the way that he was expected to. Look, let's be honest, like he's not going to be here next season. He might well not be here in January. There's rumours with Jonathan David potentially being signed in January and looking at strikers as potential options. Look, we get him back. We get him in the mix. If he can add to what we've already got, great. But the aim, I think, is for what's the game after the international breaks? I think he said it's Brighton. So yeah, Brighton.
Yeah. Well, this one hurt me. I'm gonna be honest, Brant. How about that long shaft? How about that long staff shot? He's got to put that on target now. And the reason I say it hurt me, Brant, is because, and I've shared this with the boys, I just needed Newcastle to score 2 goals today for me bet to come in, and my bet was worth like 800 quid. And when the ball went to Longstaff, I thought, I genuinely, I thought he was going to get it on target. I did. And then when he just dragged it wide, it was just like, oh God. Oh, that was the moment to win the match. But don't get me wrong, like, money aside, I'm just made up with the performance. Absolutely made up with the performance. Would I have felt better if we'd won 2-1 and I'd won 800 quid? Yes. But
You wouldn't be on.
I'd probably be in the pub, wouldn't I? I would. But no, it was.
You had backed Newcastle to score 2 goals against City, had you?
Yes, I had Newcastle to score 2 goals. All the other stuff had come in that I put in. I think I did Kovacic yellow cards, Bruno yellow cards, Newcastle over 4.5 corners. There was one more. I can't think what it was. But yeah, and then Newcastle to score 2 goals. And Newcastle only scored 1 goal. I didn't even put the results. I didn't even say Newcastle to win or draw or City. I just said Newcastle to score 2 goals.
Yeah.
It was unlucky. But what did you boys think of the Longstaff effort? Like, were you a little bit disappointed, or do you think maybe people are being a bit harsh on him? I mean, it got fizzed into him, but you would expect normally Sean Longstaff strikes the ball pretty well. Were you disappointed?
Nice.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking back to even when Sean Longstaff was over in Ireland at a preseason game, and like at that time I think he had come back from Blackpool, and where he went on loan, and he did really well scoring goals from long range, and he scored in that preseason game as well, I don't know how many years ago, but and he was very good at shooting the ball in, but I don't know. It never seems to work out for him. Now, he did have gone a bit of a run last season, but an awful lot of time with hit and miss when it comes to Longstaff shooting.
Pete?
I was not happy with that miss. When you look at the time and space that he had, he probably had time to touch and get it out of his feet before getting a shot away. And it was at that time where our tails were up and we were really causing them problems on the counter. And it's like, I genuinely feel like if he'd have put that away, we're going to win the game. Like it's that. It was on that tipping point.
A moment. Yeah.
It was it was that moment when, like I say, our tails were up, we were pushing them back, and it was a really good passage of play. It was great football that we were playing to create that moment. It was just frustrating that it kind of fell to him. But normally he is very good. He's good in that position of striking the ball. Maybe that's just how he is right now in his emotions. But as we said in the summer, his contract's out in the summer. He has to perform when he plays. And someone put it in the chat about Sandro Tonali. Surely that's the end of Sean Longstaff starting for Newcastle United. And it should be. Sandro Tonali was fantastic today. And if he wants to get back in this team, he's got to put chances like that away. It's as simple as that. As much as he's a local boy and we love the local academy products, he's got to do the business. Otherwise, he's not getting in the team. Simple as that.
Same with everybody else. But there's definitely a squad role for him this season for sure, and probably into next season as well, because there's talk of contracts extensions and stuff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to Anne Toonami. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Anne. As always, Anne.
Yeah, she's lovely. Very much. Absolutely lovely. And she says, "No worries, son." Very, very nice, Anne. Very, very nice.
And that was to Ronald Turnbull, I think.
Yes. Cool. Ronald's been the lucky recipient. So lovely.
A loaded ultra now.
I know.
Nice.
Welcome, Ronald. So that is really, really nice. We have got the best community ever on this channel. It's such a good 100%. Community. Really, really have. I'll just ask a couple more, boys, because we are coming to close time. I am aware. This is a really you won't want to go here, boys, but we've got to ask the difficult questions, haven't we? Lee Jones says, Pete, Daz and Chris, bit controversial, but if Isak continues to get injured throughout the season, do you think we would sell him to help with rebuilding the team? It's a cutthroat one, man, isn't it?
No, I see where you're going with that, Lee, but that's harsh. He injured his toe or broke his toe, and he played through a game with a broken toe. It's a bit of a freak injury in a way as well. It's not like he's muscle injuries and constantly breaking down like a Wilson. So I think Isak comes back to us. Isak will, as I said with Gordon last week, Isak is going to come good, and I think even this season Isak is going to score a hat-trick first. So you'll see that level from him as the season progresses. We haven't seen a hat-trick for a while. We're not selling Isak. I know what you're saying as well. It would like catapult the FFP anchoring situation into the next season and beyond. But I'm hoping APT does a little favor there as we find out more in the coming days, weeks, months.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. Well, hopefully sometime soon. Pete, I'm going to ask you the same question, but I'm going to add a little one to it. We've discussed on this channel, haven't we, that we feel one of our big hitters will leave this summer. So if it's not Alexander Isak, who is it?
Oh, well, I've said to you boys, I thought it might be next summer, Alexander Isak. I did think that might be the case because of Arsenal not buying a striker. I thought that they might save their money and go for him. But if he signs a new contract, like he's not going anywhere regardless, particularly if there's no release clause.
It's not going to be Anthony Gordon, is it, Pete? It's not going to be Anthony Gordon.
Not now. And this is the thing: it won't be Anthony Gordon, and it won't be Isak if they both sign a new deal with no release clauses. It just won't happen because I think the money that we'll ask for, I just don't think any team in the world will put that money down on buying those two players. It's as simple as that, on what they're worth, on what we think they're worth. But that aside, I'll be honest with you, regardless of the niggly injuries, and look, Daz is absolutely right. He got injured playing for Newcastle United. Like, that's not his fault. Someone stood on his foot and he broke his toe. Like, that's just unfortunate. That's not injury prone. That kind of situation can happen. But the fact that he played on it against Fulham shows that he's determination to put the shirt on and give everything for the club. Do you give up on somebody that's arguably the second best striker in the Premier League when on top form? Like, my question is that who else is out there that's just as good as him? And if you can name somebody, so we talked about Gyökeres earlier, who's smashing it for Sporting Lisbon at the moment. How much is he going to cost? We paid 63 million for Alexander Isak before he got to this form, and now we're talking about 120, 130 plus million to sign him. If you're going to replace somebody of that level, how much is that guy going to cost? Because ultimately, we can't afford to drop down. We can't afford to get a lesser player in and go through that process of building that guy up. We want to be, if we're going to get a player, we want to be getting a player of the same level, not necessarily value, but the same level. Who's out there? And how much are they going to cost? A lot of that money that you're going to be spending or receiving for Alexander Isak, you're going to be outlaying to replace him. So for me, I would, at 24, 25 years old, however old he is now, I'd be looking to continue to build him. He's coming into the peak levels of his career. I want them at Newcastle United. It's as simple as that, and if we want to be going anywhere upwards, Champions League and above, winning trophies, you want Alexander Isak in your team. It's as simple as that. So, I understand why you're asking the question, Lee. I understand it because it can be frustrating when you've got injuries and your players are not playing. For me, I'd be asking the question, why have we not got a ready-made replacement?
Yeah.
I was going to say, zooming back 20 years or whatever, would you have ever considered selling Alan Shearer, even though he was going through knee operations over, get the top surgeon and blah, blah, blah? No. Shut it down. Not happening. Sorry, Lee. But good controversial, devil's advocate kind of question, I think. Right.
We like that. We do. We do. I'm going to give the last question to Chippers because it's really nice to see him back in the chat. And the reason I'm bringing this one up is because I've got my own opinion on this, but it'd be interesting again to hear what you boys think. I'll tell you what my opinion is. So Chippers says, can I ask how people are contending the penalty? Obviously, Chippers, we mentioned that earlier, but I'm interested in your second part of the question, which was, nothing is being made over Grealish's elbow on Tonali. I mean, for me, mate, I thought that I was surprised that so much was made of that. Because when I watched, initially I didn't think there was anything in it. And when I watched it back, I still didn't think there was anything in it. I think it was very much, grabbing each other and then Grealish just swung round. I don't think he's gone like that and proper elbowed him. I think he's just swung his arm round and his elbow was hit Tonali. Obviously, Newcastle players didn't appreciate it and Tonali was hit the ground. But I forget who was on commentary, but they were saying, he should get up. And for me, I think it was maybe an opportunity to try and see if VAR will intervene and see if VAR think it was any more serious than what it was. But I don't believe it was. But boys, what were your thoughts on the Grealish elbow?
For me, I said it in my review back or walkthrough back. I thought it was mild. There was nothing else, but Tonali got his own back, and
he did.
Yeah, that'll do. That'll do for me. That was enough retribution for me, and just great to see. But Tonali, in a way, got a bit Joe Linton-like for me today, and I like that.
He's got it in him, mate. He's got it in him.
He can do that, and he's got the technical ability and skill, and as well. So really looking forward to what's to come from Tonali.
Yeah, I agree. Pete,
I absolutely love Sandro Tonali. I absolutely love him. I just think he's such an elegant footballer. But he's one of them that you don't expect him to have an aggressive, fiery side, but he has. You see the little montages of clips that Newcastle fans have put when he was at AC Milan, and you see him standing his ground and looking after his boys and protecting his players. And he's doing exactly the same. That picture you put up, Daz, that's what he's doing. He's standing his ground. He ain't letting a team, best team in the world, or the rest of it. He's not letting them get the better of him. He's letting them boys know that they're in a battle. And having that exchange with someone like Grealish that encourages the battle and lets him know, I'm going to play your game. I'm going to give you just as much as you're giving me. Tells him, pipe down. Don't get involved with me because I'll give it you back. I love it. I absolutely love it.
You can almost
need. I need that in my midfielders. I need that in Joe Linton. Joe Linton sometimes just needs to kind of rein it in because I worry about him getting sent off.
Yeah.
Did you see that moment, Pete, when he didn't win a foul, did he? And then he went in like a raging bull, and you were thinking, "Oh my God, just don't do anything too bad." And then he goes in the back of the player and just proper shoulder barges him on the floor, and you're thinking, "No,
he's no ability to do anything."
But he did it two other times, and he recovers the ball. He comes out with the ball clean. Yeah. Bruno Guimaraes does exactly the same. That's what I want in my players. They're all built with the same mentality, and I love it because that's the kind of midfield that we need. He's gonna be a player for us. That's for sure. He's just getting started, Sandro. I can see goals from him. I can see assists from him. I can see just top level performances coming our way. I genuinely can. I think we've got a real special player there.
He doesn't play again. I think. Do you boys agree with this? He doesn't play against Wimbledon on Tuesday, but he'll definitely be in that starting 11 at Goodison Park.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, then who's your midfield? Who's your midfield for Wimbledon?
I would say
Willock should get a bit of a run.
Willock. I would say Willock, Bruno, and Longstaff.
Okay,
that should be more than enough. More than enough.
You're still playing Bruno in it. Okay.
Yeah, I think Bruno, obviously with him being club captain, I think, and obviously as he will probably say to Andy, he'll probably come off after 50, 60 minutes. If the game's won and the match is done, I think Bruno will come off. Wouldn't even surprise me to see, maybe Lewis Hall move into a midfield position or something, depending on how the game's going. If it's 2-3-0, it wouldn't surprise me.
I don't remember
I'm
that.
not aware of that.
Is he?
I'm not aware of that, but the Samsonite Dove mentions he's suspended.
For
Someone else
yellow
in the chat
cards.
confirmed. Someone's it might be 2 yellow cards. Someone in the chat confirmed.
Well, that's good if he can get that over the League Cup.
Has he had 5 yellow cards already? Is that what it is?
I don't
That he
think he
misses
has.
a cup competition. So rather than Everton, he has been getting booked a lot, Joe Linton, though, hasn't he? We've played, how many games have we played? 7? And is it feasible he's been booked in 5 of them?
Yeah, but isn't the League Cup
Definitely feasible.
The League Cup separate?
know.
Nobody mentioned it on commentary about him being suspended. So I don't know.
But hang on, remember when Char had the red card? He missed one of the League Cup game.
Yeah, that counted as one of the games, didn't it? J7 5
so
cards.
If he's got 5 cards,
hey Summer.
If he is missing the Wimbledon game, then we've caught that absolutely spot on.
Yeah,
because you want him missing the Wimbledon game and being available for Everton. Yeah. So that
perfect.
Bruno Willock, Longstaff, and then maybe bring Tonali on. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, more than happy to give him 15-20 minutes. I just don't want him playing the whole game because I want Sandro ready for Saturday for next weekend. I just want him ready. I want him ready 5:30 Saturday night to just boss it at Goodison Park. I just want it.
We're having like conflicting reports here. South Link said Joe Linton was 17 game. Alan Thompson says he's got 4 yellow cards. He's not banned lads just yet. But Dominic's saying he has 5 yellow cards. I don't know what's going on. I'll be honest, I didn't even realize it got to that point. I know he picked up a yellow card or 2, but I didn't realize it got to that point. But yeah, he's obviously treading water. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of hoping he has got 5 yellow cards, so he just missed the game on Tuesday, because I want him available for Everton and Brighton and 100%. Chelsea, Arsenal. You don't want him missing any of those games, especially if he plays the way he did today. I know he gave the ball away and it was frustrating late on in the game, but for long parts of that, he was very good today, Joe Linton. Yeah. So, yeah, Claire says he's
cool. It's his off the ball, isn't it? It's what he does off the ball with Joe Linton. You know, it's the power runs, the tracking back. That's what you miss him for, and he puts himself about. That's why he's so key to our midfield.
Definitely.
Right, a few more things I want to say before we wrap up. We never mentioned when we're giving away our t-shirts and mug that we have 10% off our own online store, and the link is in the description in the YouTube. In YouTube, you'll find it there, or ask any of us. We'll drop you the link if you ever need it. So loads of stuff on our website and the loaded store. Also, we never haven't mentioned them yet. These guys, up the volume. Yes, for 20% off Radiator Shed, contact Russ at theradiatorshed.com and quote loaded 20 for 20% off, as I just said. And the telephone number is 077-666-04112. So a nice one. Also, while we're at it, we're across all these different things, all the socials, or most of them at least, and on YouTube, obviously, and across Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. And for any business inquiries, contact us at loadedmaginfo@gmail.com. That's it, I think, boys. We are done and dusted. We covered a lot there. Great to get that draw and that point valuable against the champions, of course. We will be back pretty soon. We're going to have a top table talk during the week. A lot of things to talk about there. Will be in the way it is, and you never know what else may pop up on Loaded. So make sure you're subscribed. Smash the like button on your way out. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. How'd you like that? Good night, everyone.
How you like?